It's been a while since we actually did a full-blown theory video. For those that are new to the channel or have been here for probably about 6 months or so, anytime around then, one thing you might not have picked up because we haven't done it in so long is that I honestly love doing things with theories. I love being able to think about and try and work out some sort of logical solution for something in the future. And there really hasn't been much to theorize on in the recent past. Perhaps the closest thing that we could have come to was the notion of Black Ops 4, which wasn't so much a theory as it was just a logical reference point when discussing the idea of a 2019 release by Treyarch. Because let's be real, Black Ops 3 was a fantastic title in the sense of how much it sold, and so from a business perspective, it only makes sense that to continue that name, selling off of that, it would just happen. So whether you want to call that a theory or not, I guess that's up to you. But today, we're going a little bit different here. We have a full-blown theory that's going to require you to take it as such, and in no way, shape, or form is it confirmed, but man, oh man, it is a wild ride, I think, and in all honesty, I think this has potential to be something more. Both the logic behind it and also some other influences that just revealed itself to me earlier this morning. So strap in, get your tinfoil hats ready, because we're gonna go down the rabbit hole here at this one on why a Modern Warfare 2 Remastered could actually make a ton of sense for this year. So if you agree or disagree at any point in time, feel free to let me know down there in the comment section down below, and hey, maybe even spread the word a little bit. Let's try and make this a genuine conversation because this could be happening and soon. Or I guess it could not be. We'll let this video hopefully help shape your thoughts on the entire situation as a whole. But let's start out with the basics. Let's start with what we know. Because as it stands right now, there's been a few air quote leaks and hints for Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, which honestly, I'm still a little skeptical on. And that's even coming from the point of proposing this theory. There are some things that still seem just odd, but maybe this is for a larger reason. Let's first talk about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, the rumor, in its own sense. The first thing that we ended up seeing about this, and I don't credit this at all towards the actual credible leaks or hints or anything like that, was a posting that we saw a couple of weeks back from Lad Bible. It was something that was an article that was posted on their website talking simply about why it would make sense to remaster the game, but then what really gained traction and went viral was that the actual tweet associated to it on the Lad Bible Twitter, taking them to the article, the tweet itself said that it was confirmed, when in no way, shape, or form in the article did it actually say that. So that's something that I don't really think that I want to credit with the first actual representation of a Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, simply because it was just timing-wise that it actually added up to anything more than just a little clickbait tweet. The first thing that we ended up seeing, and honestly one of the only things that we ended up seeing as of recently, and that does have a little bit of weight behind it, was an Amazon listing for Amazon Italy. It was a listing of COD MW2 Remastered on PlayStation 4, which is most likely a placeholder given the fact that it was listed as COD MW2 Remastered and not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered as per official branding. It was also interesting that the price tag of $25 was listed as well. It might be multiplayer only or campaign only, or maybe honestly just fan service that we get the whole package for 25 bucks, but at that point in time when that was listed before it was taken down, it was probably just a placeholder. But regardless, there was a bit to it that at least had some weight behind it in some capacity. But where it starts to get really interesting deals with a man named Marcus Sellers, who's an industry insider that first spawned the discussion of this Modern Warfare 2 Remastered when he replied to a YouTuber named Alpha Sniper, who simply tweeted out MW2 Remastered, to which Marcus replied with "this month." Now, here's the thing. Marcus has been recently known in the COD community for his leaks on Black Ops 4, but has a previous track record that's rock solid on a ton of things Nintendo, so his portfolio is building up, and with each thing that is released, I find it a bit easier to trust his word on things. So it was interesting to see that perspective and to see something come out of that as well. But we'll get back to Marcus in just a second because he plays a little bit deeper of a role here in this theory as we progress on through this storyline. Now, my initial concerns for this entire thing was the timing, and really it came down to that more so than anything else. Why in the world would a Modern Warfare 2 Remastered be happening in a theory time of April of a year when Black Ops 4 is coming out? When firstly, Black Ops 4 is a guaranteed big seller and it's probably gonna break some numbers over the long haul compared to what Black Ops 3 already did with the franchise records and sales and revenues and everything off of that. So why now, especially when you consider further that Modern Warfare Remastered was possibly only greenlit for developmental shortcomings in Infinite Warfare if rumors are to be taken seriously? There's just so much that doesn't add up to the why now thing. or at least that's what I thought. So the theory, not to tie it in with any corny Black Ops 4 reference here for pun's sake or anything like that, but forget what you know about Call of Duty and the standard release schedule. Black Ops 4 already threw it out the window with a mid-October release date instead of the standard November that we've seen for the last decade. But forget what you know about remasters as well. We have this preconceived notion that remasters need to fall in line with the current studio's development, or that it needs to be released in conjunction with something because that's what we've all known so far. Granted, our data set and pool isn't the greatest because we only have had one situation of this previously, but we ended up only seeing this happen once with Modern Warfare Remastered. But if we are to take the word of Marcus Sellers and other leaks, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered could be confirmed this month with a surprise release of 6 months before Black Ops 4, 2 or 3 weeks after DLC 2 for World War II, depending on when that releases at the end of April. And then we see everything happen as normal up until the Black Ops 4 release. Then, after Black Ops 4, we'll no doubt be given a ton of content not only at release, but then also shortly thereafter, probably with an updated release schedule of DLCs if we are to follow the same yearly pattern then where every single title releases in October instead of November. But then in April of 2019, again, we might end up seeing another remaster 6 months after the launch of Black Ops 4. And that remastered title, to me, potentially could be a Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, 1 year after Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, and all in preparation for what could be the best comeback story in all of the gaming industry in absolute ages. All of this leading up to a Modern Warfare 4 from Infinity Ward in 2019. Give the fans a slow exposure to the series again of the classics to build up intrigue and interest, but also subliminally getting them to want more, and then you hit them with the heavy hitter and knock it out of the park. So what if all of this stuff wasn't meant to make sense in the short term, but in the long term, it's meant to make a massive wave? It's playing the long game, and maybe Activision have had this plan for quite some time now. But how realistic is this? Honestly, I don't know. Your guess is seriously as good as mine. It was something that, like I said, was just a theory and was a full-blown 1 a.m. thought that was the only logical reasoning I could think of from a marketing perspective on why this would make any sense at all. Why we've seen any sort of tease for a Modern Warfare 2 Remastered in a year where Treyarch is probably going to dominate sales in comparison to recent titles in the Call of Duty franchise. Red Dead and some other games releasing in the fall might give some pushback and some competition in the market this year as well, but for what it's worth in terms of comparison to Call of Duty titles, Black Ops 4 is going to be a heavy hitter. And of course, when we saw some teases initially with the first Black Ops 4 leak back with the GameStop listing, there was some content labeled for World at War. So why would a Modern Warfare 2 Remastered make any sense at all? Why now? Why detract from a Black Ops 4 release and a marketing period potentially for a game that's going to do absolutely amazing for you in sales? Well, my only guess that didn't leave me with more questions than answers was that Activision are playing the long game, and this to me would make a ton of sense. Additionally, like I said, we'd come back to Marcus Sellers. Turns out I actually tweeted this out last night, once again at 1 a.m., full-blown 1 a.m. thought, and overnight it gained a little bit of traction, which, subtle little plug here if you guys don't follow me over on Twitter. I tweet stuff like this all the time in which I just throw my mind out there sometimes, and if you guys just want to get connected with me further, that's actually the best place to. I check Twitter way more often than YouTube, just because it's so much more accessible. But I tweeted this theory out last night at 1 a.m., and turns out over the night, the man himself ended up seeing my tweet and in an insanely cryptic fashion replied simply with the odd emoji. And I'm not going to say that this in particular means anything, but it's interesting to me that the man who's been behind all the recent COD leaks comes to my theory and pops in like that. A little bit strange, but also a little bit cool. And who knows, maybe he's just genuinely awed by it or intrigued by it and doesn't have any insight, but is simply liking the theory. We don't know exactly how far his potential knowledge, if legitimate even, how far that reaches. He may know the next 6 months plan, he may know the next 2-year plan, or might not even know that. So right now, your guess is as good as mine, but it's interesting and I appreciated having that small interaction with him. And another quick little afterthought, which is kind of cool on all of this and the timing potentially, is that Black Ops 4 departed from that previously, what we thought was a trilogy, what was going to end Black Ops. That could be the same thing done for Modern Warfare 4. The same concepts could apply. Forget what you know in terms of just what we think is the end for series. And again, I'm not trying to take the marketing material for Black Ops 4 and apply it to next year's title as well, but interesting that it could also fit that, I guess. But here's what I'd look out for. GDC is this week in San Francisco, and GDC is the Game Developers Conference that happens annually, and it's kind of a big thing. Some things are shown off there, but it's not the E3 of the gaming industry where everything everything and then some is shown off for a worldwide reveal. GDC is a little more of a low-key thing where it's not as major, but still a cool get-together for developers and people that are interested in the gaming industry. They can go and take a look at some things that are going on in the gaming world. But it's worth noting that COD has actually had teasers for upcoming games there before, and curiously enough, Modern Warfare 2 was actually first initially teased at GDC in 2009. A pretty fitting way for that to come full circle if something does happen, no? So here's the lead up. Again, coming back to Marcus Sellers, he's been trying to point out some interest to the event, and even for some reason, Ali is making a day trip out there for the event. A short turnaround from the UK that brings the biggest name in gaming, or one of the biggest names in gaming on the YouTube platform. That's something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. Something might actually be going down. Now, whether or not it's for COD or not, who knows? But again, it's also fitting former trends and atmosphere that Modern Warfare 2 is actually where Ali really first took off. So who'd be more fitting to help debut it than probably one of the biggest, once again, names in gaming in terms of YouTube, and also somebody that had that connection to Modern Warfare 2. Well, as for what else could happen, well, there's currently 4 panels right now for Call of Duty at GDC, 3 of which I think hold no weight at all to the situation. There's one for shipping Call of Duty and what seems like a process of finalizing a game for release with a current Infinity Ward employee leading that. There's one for the music of World War II. There's one for the sound of World War II with a Sledgehammer employee. And then there's one peculiarly labeled testing and profiling for Call of Duty, time for a panel start time of 10 a.m. PST, which falls perfectly in line with the standard reveal times we see across the board for all things COD. Reveals, updates, content drops, all roll out at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 6 p.m. GMT. So it's strange to me to see the most ambiguous of those panels at that specific time and on a day of the week that we usually see things revealed on or given to us. So maybe it's nothing, maybe I'm crazy, or maybe my 1 a.m. thought might have actually been something close to the mark. I don't know, but I want to get your thoughts and feedback. So what I want you to take away from this, potentially keep your eyes out for an April release for Modern Warfare 2, an October release of Black Ops 4, an April 2019 release of Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, and then an October or November release of Modern Warfare 4. That's the big theory here for this, and what to me actually makes sense from, once again, a long-term marketing perspective, and also something that still has some story implications. You could hunt down the Shadow Company and everything like that, because that was the one thing that from Modern Warfare 2 never really made much sense to me. Shepard was gone, sure, but that doesn't mean his whole entire cabal was immediately as well. You could hunt down key roles and players here out of that, extending outside of the Makarov storyline, and it's the final 2 games in the series that don't have current gen support. You have World at War, Black Ops 2 on backwards compatibility for Xbox One. You have Modern Warfare Remastered from those earlier titles on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. You have Ghost starting that transition into current generation hardware. Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 are the only ones withheld from any sort of support on current generation, whether it be half the current console generation or the entirety of it. But there's a lot of things to work with here that I think could honestly play in the favor of this theory. So that said, I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Taking off the tinfoil hat now, we are completely good to just discuss this. Let me know your thoughts. I really want to know, because I'm curious about all of this. I'm very much so intrigued, and honestly might be on us a lot faster than we think, or maybe it doesn't happen at all. But again, that's where I want to turn it over to you guys. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be something that actually does happen? Modern Warfare 2 Remastered coming out later this month, and then maybe Modern Warfare 3 next year, and then a Modern Warfare 4 in the fall of next year as well. Love to get your thoughts and feedback. Seriously, let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding potentially what could be Modern Warfare 2 Remastered content. Black Ops 4 stuff, and of course World War II is the current title, so we got you covered on all those fronts. If you guys are interested in any of that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, like I said, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, I'm trying to get a little bit more active over there as well, so if you guys want to follow on that front, that link is as well in the description below. But all that said, now to the way, hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine is an espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Fingers crossed, maybe this happens, and peace.